Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Circus Caper, brought to us by Touhou. Circus Caper is a relatively simple platformer that takes place with a circus theme as you're playing as a kid trying to save his sister. As we begin the game, we get our opening storyline before we get to the main menu. After that opening storyline, we have our title screen, Circus Caper, and when we start the game we get a little bit more story before we jump into level 1. Here we go with stage number 1. As we begin as Tim, we're going to head over to the right side. You have a big fist that you're able to use as your main weapon. A little bit in, you'll have to jump on top of these gators as they close their mouths. Every enemy you defeat drops an item, some of which are weapons that you can use yourself, other ones can be health, and others are useful items that you can use, such as bricks that you can then make a platform with, and you'll need to at the end of this area in order to get up to the next place. Be very careful moving across these again. And when you make it to the right, you're going to use the brick and jump on up to the top platform and on to the next screen. Watch out for the Rocketeer-like guys coming your way. You have your own jetpack, so you can use that to fly around a little bit, getting up to higher platforms and the like. It's so annoying when you defeat certain enemies if they're near the top of the screen. The item they give you flies off screen instead of coming back down because it goes too high off screen to come back. Sometimes getting through these little nooks and crannies can be a little bit difficult in the game. Here we're going to float on or fly on over to the right, watching out for these projectiles being fired out of the cannons. It's very easy to get hit multiple times really quick because there's very little invulnerability time. Head over here and inside of the clown for the first boss fight. From a distance, we're going to go ahead and throw our hammers, but normally we would get up close and use our one move that I'll show you in the next level. I just didn't have one quite yet. To finish off the ball bag, we're going to get on the platform with it and just keep on punching. You should have plenty of health. to be able to survive. You may get hit once or twice by the bag, but keep on punching and the bag will go down in a few seconds. For the next level, you have these tightrope walkers. Be careful of them. You're going to hit them as they kind of come down. If you don't get a hit with your initial punch, jump over them. Just kind of avoid them so you don't end up getting run into. The black and red circle object that kind of looks like a yo-yo is the one you want the most. That item goes around you like a force field, basically, and just keeps circling you, taking out anything that gets in your way. It's extremely effective against boss fights, so you want to make sure you have at least one or two at all times. Just kind of keep moving. It's very hard to get through the areas a lot of times without taking at least some damage. There's just so many enemies. Run over here to the far right. Just keep making your jumps over these platforms. When these things get on the same line of sight of you, they will come flying towards you. You have followed up by a whole slew of more tightrope walking guys and other enemies. Circus Caper is one of those games that got changed up a lot from its Japanese counterpart. The setting got changed up, some of the levels, RPG elements were removed from the game, as well as some of the minigame stuff. Here we go with the next boss fight. We're going to get out that item, press select until you have it, and then go ahead and use it, punch the enemy as you do so. That way, as soon as it goes away, it comes right back out and goes again, and it'll only take like 2 of these in order to defeat the boss. The next level leads us to a fight against a tiger, though this time around it's a mini-game that we have to do instead of actually facing off against the tiger. These enemies just kind of come at you a lot at a time. Thankfully the game doesn't really slow up much. When you get to the end, use a brick in order to get up top. If you don't have one yet, just keep destroying these until you do. I was looking in case I could get extra health or any extra item before jumping up to face off against the white tiger. Now for this matchup, you have meat and bones that appear in the center. When there's meat, you want to grab it. When there's a bone, you don't want to grab it. The opponent goes really, really fast and seems almost impossible to beat, but after a little bit, you start to get a rhythm of it. There's also a lot more meat usually than the bones, so even if you grabbed a lot of bones, you should be able to still grab plenty of meat if you keep just grabbing every item. You have a full minute that you have to do this for, and whoever has the most points at the end is declared the winner. After the minute passes and we win, we're moving on to the next level. A lot of the stages in this game can actually be completely avoided. If you go through the curtain at the beginning, you can go right to the boss fight in a lot of cases. I wanted to showcase the levels though, so I'm going and showing them all. Plus you can get items along the way to help you for those boss fights. These little elephant enemies can be extremely annoying. Instead of just doing the normal punch, I'll hold down and do the kick instead. Here I'm going to jump between these birds as much as I can and use my one weapon just to kind of help me out here. Usually I only use them against boss fights, but they are exceptionally useful against these bird enemies as well. Here, make a brick in the air and then jump on top. Here you're going to use another brick in order to get up high. I always try to grab some extra health if I see it pop up. For these lions, we're going to jump and then just run over to the right, just avoiding them altogether. Take the top path here so you don't end up at a dead end. Then just head over to the right to finish up the level. For this boss, once again, we're going to get out that special weapon and just keep on hitting him over and over again, just like we did before. He will go down in just a few moments, just like the previous bosses have. Next up, you can see there's some fire going on in the background, and thankfully we don't run into the flames. Head on over to the right, make your jumps between these platforms, of course being careful not to fall into the fire pits below. Here, switch over to your brick and place it down so you can get up high enough to get on top of the platform. Here, once again, pull out the bricks, place one down so that you can get up high enough to this platform and get yourself over. Watch out for all of these falling from the sky. They can be a little bit tricky to dodge, that's for sure. Sometimes, though, if you keep moving, they'll just fall behind you, so you can avoid them. Head over here to the end to take on the dancing bear, or bear on a ball. Here we're going to use that same weapon again and just have it circle around us, hitting the bear multiple times. Keep punching while we do so we can get it out a second time real quick and take down the bear in just a few seconds. It's now time for the final level of the game. We immediately get attacked by a couple of bears on wheels. Jump over all of them if need be. As we make it to the next area, head over to the right, and then you'll see a door in the background. We can enter inside of these doors, but we need to enter inside the right ones. Skip the first door and go to the second one. From there, head over to the right and go through this door. Over to the left all the way in order to make it to the next door. It's a good spot to gather some items before the end of the game, so if you need weapons of any kind, pick them up here. Once you've gathered what you need, finish off going to the left and go through the door. Head over to the right and enter inside this door. This will take you to this ferry, and this will lead us to a mini game, and then we will face off with the final boss. For this minigame, we have to go back and forth and collect the objects, punching them in the air in order to grab them. It's not necessarily the most thrilling of minigames, but it's, I guess, something nonetheless. It can be a little bit tricky to stay ahead of the CPU on this one, but eventually, when time ticks down, win or lose, you'll be moving on to the next part of the game. It's a boss gauntlet leading up to the final boss. The thing is, this boss gauntlet is very easy. The enemies only have a little bit of health each. For the clown bag, we're just going to get up here and immediately do our punches and just take it down in a few seconds. Do the same thing, running over to the tightrope walker, just punch him a couple of times. Since we don't have to do the tiger again, we can just go ahead and punch the lion tamer a few times, and then finally the bear a few times. And now we have the final boss. Get out your weapon that we've been using, and what we're going to do is hit him as he dives on down with his projectiles. We can keep hitting him multiple times. Sometimes he'll glitch a little bit and go through the floor like this. Just keep focused on him, hitting him as he dives on down using that move. It doesn't take too long in order to take him down, and you can enjoy the ending, the Circus Caper, on the NES. So there you have it, the story of Tim and Judy in Circus Caper. Judy seems okay after being used as target practice, basically. But either way, that will wrap up this episode of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.